The 2018 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Buffalo, New York is brought to you by the all-new 2018 Chevrolet Traverse. Always gives 110% or 255 horsepower.
Welcome back to Buffalo, New York. On this December the 30th, the Canadians will close out the preliminary round of the World Junior Hockey Championship as they take on Team Denmark. Canada 2-1. The Danes are 0-2 and play Slovakia tomorrow. Referees are Manuel Nikolic from Austria and Mikael Sjöqvist from Sweden. And there is Carter Hart in the Canadian goal. All 3 goals on 35 shots. Officially against the United States, there's actually 1 more shot, 1 more goal. The IHF counts the winner of the shootout as a goal in the tournament. And Emil Granso makes his first appearance in this World Junior. Didn't play last year as the backup for the Danes. He did appear against the United States earlier. 7 goals on 23 shots in 2 periods and a 9-0 loss to the Americans. Dominic Ducharme is the head coach of Team Canada for the 2nd consecutive year. And there is Olaf Eller, his 5th year coaching the Danish national junior team. 2 sons who played in the NHL. Lars Eller is still there. Mads is back playing in Denmark. And Olaf Eller doesn't hold much back behind that Danish bench. And as we mentioned, Ray, they are in the top division for the 4th consecutive year. Last year, they beat the Finns and the Czech Republic and lost to the Russians in the quarterfinals. Remember, 2 years ago, they lost in overtime to the Russians in the quarters.
Yeah, they had quite a collection of guys that grew up together. They obviously of the same age, and in an age-out tournament, a small country, as Olaf Eller has pointed out, sometimes your best players are 20 years old and they just can't play. So they've got a young team. They'll work. They've never come close to beating Canada in this tournament. Outscored 28-4 in the 4 times they've played.
Score was 6-1 2 years ago in Helsinki. There's the issue that Colin's going to lay here, that portal for photographers, the cover is sticking out.
Hit it with a hammer. It fixes just about everything, Gord.
That's your answer to everything, isn't it?
Well,
appliances.
Yeah, because I'm really not very handy, so I can't do anything. So that's my tool of choice. There's Dominic Ducharme, who said after the game yesterday he got a good hot shower and started thinking about Denmark. And one of the focal points, as we touched on in the opening, is that Canada's taken way too many minor penalties. 14 of them in the tournament.
As I mentioned, Canada can clinch first place in the group with a win tonight. Tomorrow, Finland plays the United States, and because the U.S. won in overtime and left a point on the table in a sense, there's still a possibility for the Slovaks. If the Finns beat the United States 6-5, and then the Slovaks beat the Danes, the Slovaks would be 3rd, and the United States would be 4th.
Which drops you into a quarterfinal game you probably don't want to be in.
If you had to guess right now, you'd say against Sweden.
Everybody sitting around waiting for them to fix this problem in the glass, and I'm looking at it, Gord, and a hammer seems to be the tool of choice there.
Well, there seems to be some confusion down in the Zambonian about what to do here. So, of course, we had the delays yesterday for snow clearing. And others, look at this. There you go. He's brought a cell phone? That's not going to help. Oh, look at that. It was that simple.
Well, it's got to go back in because you can't have the hole there. There you go. Well done, sir.
Wasn't so hard, was it? Although your hammer might be just effective. All right, after that momentary pause, away we go. The #1 goaltender for Denmark, Kasper Krog, is not dressed tonight. They'll save him for the game tomorrow against the Slovaks. If there's one thing with the Danes we know, in both 2015 and 2016, they only won 1 game. but each time it was the win that got them into the quarters. And for a team that had been relegated in its 2 previous appearances in the tournament a long time ago, that's quite a measure of success. There are fewer than 3 dozen full-size covered rinks in Denmark. Jake Bean brings it ahead. Bean up for Boris Kachuk, who fires that down, and back to pick it up for the Danes is Valdemar Alberg. 4 of these Danish players are drafted. And it's brought in by Lucas Andersson. He got turned around. Now peeling back is Alberg to pick it up. Frans Nielsen is the all-time leader in games played, goals and points for Danish-born and trained players. But there are a number of strong Danish players in the NHL. 7 in total playing in the league this year. Frederik Andersen, the goaltender in Toronto, among them. Jannik Hansen's had a good National Hockey League career as well. Alex Formanson plays that back to Victor Mete. His shot caroms off the end board, chipped back in front by Houghton. And now bumped ahead and moved out as it's brought out by Jakob Svejstrup. Svejstrup goes in for it, tries to play it ahead, knocked down by Mete. Victor Mete spun back. Plays it across to Fabro. Lead pass rolls down and Granso hangs onto it. So 26 indoor rinks in Denmark. They're ranked 14th in the world ranking. 5th last year, though, at the World Junior Championships. We mentioned they lost to the Russians in the quarters 2 years ago. Last year, beat Russia and the Czech Republic. Brought in now by Molga. Spins around and Carter Hart plays it around for Foot. Up to Kyrou. Canada breaks out 4 wide. Kyrou up for Dylan Dubé, who chips that in. Dubé avoided serious injury in the outdoor game yesterday when the stick of Adam Fox got stuck in the boards and he almost impaled himself on it. Kyrou works in. That's knocked down by Malte Setkov, and Setkov, a Detroit draft pick, plays it back in the corner. Here's Setkov back with it.
6'6", about 190 pounds or so.
Michael McLeod drops it back. Clegg with a shot that goes wide. Back at the point is McCarr. McLeod chips it back in front. Bouncing puck. McLeod goes in for it, shoots, and coming across to make the save was Granso. And Granso got a piece of it. Now Gadjevich trying to dig it out. Lays it around for Batherson, chips it back in front for McLeod. And McCarr jumps ahead. Rolling puck in front. Batherson drops it back. Here's Clegg on it. Cale Clegg, a long shot, ticks off the outside of the post. McCarr back across to Clegg, trying to find the stick of Batherson. That missed. And now McCarr bobbles it. And Jonas Ronberg, the 18-year-old playing in his 3rd World Junior, hooks it ahead for the Danes. McLeod with his neck guard dislodged. Made his way up the ice, but lost the puck. Brought across the line by Taylor Radish, shoots, and Granso makes the save on that.
A good shot by Radish coming down the right or the left wing. He's got a stick in the middle and he wants to go up top. Pretty good stop for Granso.
Brought in now by Radish. Taylor Radish jumps it across the line, drops it off for Kachuk. On a centering pass by Radish, and Thomas scores. Robert Thomas on the feed from Radish, and Canada grabs a 1-0 lead just under 4 minutes in.
Robert Thomas is first of the World Junior Tournament. The St. Louis Blues first rounder takes the feed from Taylor Radish. This is earlier in the shift that Radish walks down the wing. He tries to go up over top of Granso, shoulder to side. And then after Radish works the puck into the zone, he's going to take the reverse pass around the boards from Patrick. And Granso doesn't get over to cover the side. And Thomas is going to be able to jam it between the goaltender and the post, and it's 1-0 Canada.
Radish and Tkachuk draw the assists on the goal at 3:52, and Canada has the early lead. The Danes, by the way, have only 5 defensemen dressed for this game. A couple of their D-men are shaken up, so for them, the key game is tomorrow against the Slovaks. If they win that, they're in the quarters.
Yeah, so anybody in question, they just hold them out of today, including their starting goaltender, Kasper Krog.
Comtois looks ahead for Formanton. In comes Formanton now, sweeps that around. Alex Formanton throws it in the corner, picked out there by Schweistra. Back at the point is Timmins. Connor Timmins, a shot, that's blocked. Comtois tries to bring it ahead. Poked back in by Foot. Brett Howden spins back. Howden throws that back to center ice, picked up there by Bean. Fabro up to Bean. Now loose puck along the board. Sam Steele on it. Steele drops it off for Dubé. Dylan Dubé, poke check there by Philip Schultz. And back at center ice, Fabro goes back to get it. Bean moves it ahead for Steele. Drops it up to Kyrou. A shot that goes over the crossbar, up and out of play.
Robert Thomas became the 10th player to score a goal for Team Canada. We talked prior to the tournament how this team would have to be a balanced scoring team with no real headliner. 10 players scoring is a pretty good indication. Tkachuk goes below the goal line to Radish with the pass. A nice little reverse, and Radish makes a nice pass out front to Thomas.
Clegg plays that back across. Clegg played 26 minutes and 49 seconds in the outdoor game against the United States. Saw him in the hallway before the game. He said, "How was that for you to call?" I said, "Well, I had a hard time seeing the puck." He said, "So did I, and I was on the ice." And the puck trickles down to Hart. He'll hang on to that.
Carter Hart gets the start in back-to-back games. A .958 save percentage when he starts in back-to-back nights for Canada, or starts for the Everett Silvertips in the Western Hockey League. .961 on the season for him, and thought he played pretty well last night. Didn't have much chance. A couple of gorgeous passes from Casey Middlestat from the U.S. set up a couple of goals, and back-to-back years, Hart's been in the net when the Canadians lose in a shootout to the U.S.
Timmins, a shot that goes off a leg and banks back down the ice as Mete goes back to pick it up. Mete spins back. And the puck skips into the Danish bench, and play is called. Robert Thomas has his first goal of the 2018 World Junior Championship. Good news for him, and a big cheer from Mom Debbie and the rest of his family.
Olaf Eller never gives his team a break from competing. This is during the timeout. He was on his guys, pointing, gesturing to different areas on the ice. A couple of times slamming his fist into his palm. He wants them to finish their checks. He wants them to stay engaged in the game. And it's really admirable that the Danes never back off. They do the best they can with what they have, and Eller's not going to let them go out there and stand and take pictures of Canada. He wants them to make it hard on them.
Formanton centers it. Comtois shot trickles down, and Branso makes the save on that. And for the Danes, Olaf Eller would talk about a very successful run at the World Junior Championship. 4 years in the top division is remarkable for a country that was relegated, as we mentioned, in its 2 previous appearances.
Gord, you often talk about how there's different tournaments going on within the one big tournament, and for the Danes, it's to get themselves into that quarterfinal game, to take themselves out of the relegation mix.
For a smaller country where the band of players available is basically 3 birth years, 17, 18, 19. That's a tall order. Dubé taking it. That'll be a penalty against the Danes. As Malte Setkov will go off, and Canada will get its first power play. And this power play has been lethal so far in the tournament.
There is the 6'6" Svetkov, as we talked about him a little earlier, the Detroit Red Wings draft pick. Dubé's protecting the puck, and he just shoves him into the boards. We talked to this yesterday. Now, if Svetkov moves his legs through that hit, he'll drive Dubé flat into the boards instead of pushing him head first, and there'll be no penalty. But Canada, with 4 power play goals on the tournament, gets another crack here.
Bean back with it. Takes the return pass. Jake Bean. Back for Cale Makar. Thomas tries to feed that down. Prokopchuk bounces back to Thomas for Makar. Back under 10 minutes in the outdoor game for Makar. Bean works it down the goal line. A backhand shot. Batherson digs for it. And that's worked free by the Danes. And now moved down the ice by Daniel Nielsen. Makar drops that back for Bean. And Bean winds his way in. As a look back, that puck skips off the stick of Tkachuk and back to center ice. Makar up for Bean. Centering pass for Thomas. Crisscrossing there with Batherson. Thomas hangs on, drops it back to Bean. Winds in, drops it back. Makar with room, slides it across. Thomas. Backdoor pass for Bean. Down the goal line, skipped away from Batherson. And moved down the ice by Wjc.
See them trying to work the puck around, get it into a shooting spot, but you got to shoot it a couple of times. You'll overmatch the Danes if you get the puck to the net, and yet if you're willing to work harder than them to get it back, then they're moving and they won't be able to keep up.
Kyrou pokes it around for Steele. And Jordan Kyrou, a hard rim for Radish, who centers it, counters it right back up and plays it back to Mete. Victor Mete swings it across for Steele. Down the goal line, Kyrou holds, trying to throw it back in front, poke checked away. Dubé back with it now. And Kyrou behind the goal, feeds across for Steele. Steele to Dubé, in shoots, he fired that wide. The puck comes back down to the Canadian zone. And now Mete's pass misses. It'll be icing for Canada on the power play.
A couple of misfires in the offensive zone and now one in the neutral zone as Mete fires a pass up the ice. He's got 2 forwards going in different directions. And Dylan Dubé is going to come off the goal line and try to swing this on goal. He just misses wide, but there's no other forward on the back door. Radish was like 30 feet away on the sideboards. And you get caught standing if you're not sharp. And Canada's wasted this first power play.
1 shot on goal, the man advantage. It remains 1-0 as we approach the midway point of the opening period. Dylan Dubé feeds it in for Steenbergen. Now Clegg centers it. Went off the heel of Dubé. Loose puck at the side of the goal. McLeod went in hard, along with Christopher Gott. And back is Clegg to pick it up. McLeod trying to chip that ahead. Now Gadjevich with it. Gadjevich for Steenbergen. Shoots off the stick of Wjc. Steenbergen throws it back in front. Knocked wide there by Gadjevich. And McLeod keeps it alive for Steenbergen. Held by Bevel. He falls hard into the sideboards. And the puck moved out by Ronberg. Moves it right back in. A chance for Richard. Shoots. And a save made point blank by Carter Hart on Joachim Blichfeld.
The Danes have somebody that they want to have the puck. It's probably Blichfeld. 28 goals as a rookie last year in Portland. He's got 30 points in 26 games this year. Canada's got 3 guys on one side of the ice. Clegg is way over on the right side. That opens up Blichfeld to go in, and Carter Hart makes the stop on the attempt as Blichfeld tried to go to his forehand and back through the 5-hole.
Do you suppose Hart, who plays for Everett, knows Blichfeld, who plays for Portland very well?
Probably looked pretty familiar to him coming in. Both of them And you know what ends up happening? So the shooter knows what the goalie thinks he knows.
Right.
And then as you're processing it through, sometimes you don't make a very good move. And I think Blickfield's probably got a better move than that, where he ended up hitting Hart right in the middle of the pad.
Blickfeld has 13 goals this year for Portland, in addition to those 30 points you talked about. Now Steenbergen knocks it down, ahead for Gadjevich. In with Makar, who's jumped into the rush. Gadjevich, a backhand shot. And that's gloved by Granso. So a chance there for the Danes a moment ago, but Carter Hart makes the stop. It remains 1-0 Canada. 9:45 to go in the first period of the 2018 World Juniors here in Buffalo. On the continent's busiest highway, the stakes are high and every minute counts to keep the roads moving. The new season of Heavy Rescue 401, Tuesday at 10 Eastern, only on Discovery. Little town of Wawa cheering for you is the sign. You know what the big symbol is in Wawa?
I do not.
Giant goose. Back in the day when, for some reason, towns decided to put giant animals by the town entrance, they put a big goose there.
Any significance?
Must be on a flight path for all I know. Not sure.
I mean, the fact you knew it was a goose, I thought you might have the, you know, the Babbage brothers from Vegreville, very popular, the giant Ukrainian Easter egg.
And the UFO landing pad.
Oh, no, see, I didn't know that.
I think Dryden, Ontario is a big buffalo. What a list you can compile of. What do they have in trail?
We don't have anything. There's no animals.
You're minimalist in trail?
Yes, we're a sign. Welcome to trail. We keep things pretty simple, you know. Met a lot of young guys, especially over at the other rink, the smaller rink where we're down around the crowd. Met a lot of young guys and their parents, and guys and girls come in and watch the games. They in for 1 day, in for 2 days, some in for a little longer.
Well, think about in Halifax, Ray, in 2003. Had a young fella who was a pretty good hockey player in the area who was excited to be at the game, and a couple years later, a year later, Sidney Crosby was playing in the tournament. Goes fast.
Yes, it does.
Next year's draft for players born in 2000.
As every parent knows, their kids grow up in a hurry. My little guy Riley turned 11 today. He's at the game tonight. And it's hard to believe, 11 already.
Brought in now by Ronberg. Ronberg feeds it back at the point for Mortensen. Mortensen shoots that deflected wide. Picked up now by Blickfeld. And flicks that to the other side. This top line, Blickfeld, Krog, and Ronberg has been the most dangerous for the Danes. That lead pass for Kachuk just missed. They've scored just once so far. That went to Krog. On the power play against the Finns, Krog was -6 in the 9-0 loss to the U.S. That's hard to do.
Sometimes you get a big number.
And there's Mete with a quick shot.
Because you're one of the better players and you're out there a lot as well. It's like, I don't think a bad place to be.
Here's Mete with it. Up ahead for Kyrou. Kyrou drops it back for Mete. The centering pass knocked away, now scooped up by Nikolai Krog, who was Krog Christensen the last 2 World Juniors. He's shortened it down to St. Louis 7th round pick. Start of the year in the Finnish League.
Ended up back home in November.
A lot of these young Danes play in Sweden as minor hockey players, and of course Copenhagen, separated only by a bridge from Sweden, almost right across the harbor from them. As David Madsen brings it in. Madsen plays in the Swedish Hockey League for Vaxio. And now Makar has it back. Cale Makar looks ahead for Gadjevich. And Alberg swings back to pick it up for the Danes. Shots are 7-2 Canada, a 1-0 lead. 6.5 to go in the opening period. Canada will not play tomorrow. Well, first New Year's Eve without Canada at the World Junior in a long, long time.
That will seem strange. But some games worth with great implication tomorrow.
Now a steal by Formanson. Walks in and shoots, and that goes off a stick high off the glass. From the point, Clegg plays it across for Fabro. Fabro flips that down. Christian Larsson picks it back up and throws it back in behind the goal for Lasse Mortensen. Banked up by Formanson. Montois waiting for it, and Howden got knocked down the line. The play called offside at the Canadian line. TSN's live coverage of the 2018 World Junior Hockey Championship returns to Buffalo in a moment. Happy birthday, Riley Ferraro on the right with his little brother Reese. Wife Cammy on the right. Good birthday for him?
He had a good birthday. Cammy and him went skating outdoors, and
Nice.
they had some fun, and I think we've got some event planned when we get back to the hotel. They're on West Coast time, so they
are, yeah.
They're not buying this, oh, it's 10:30, go to bed stuff. They're like, yeah. Well, happy birthday, son.
Pretty fair soccer player.
He is. He loves the game. We figured out today, by the way, he's been in 9 cities on his birthday. Not many 11-year-olds in Malmo, Helsinki. Wherever we've been for the World Juniors, they've been there.
Here's Blickfeld with it. Moving that ahead to Jonas Ronberg, as we mentioned, an 18-year-old playing in his 3rd World Junior, so next year he'll have a chance to become one of the handful of players who have played in 4 World Juniors, assuming Denmark survives relegation. The 2 5th-place finishers in each group will play each other in a best-of-3 relegation series. Only one team is now relegated to the World Junior. As Mete shoots, save made by Granso.
It's too much up and down the other way. Too many teams going back and forth with the 2 teams up and down. And of course, the biggest issue is a team will win an age-out tournament. They'll win the B pool, get promoted, and all those players have graduated.
Right. Kazakhstan up next year. Haven't seen them in a while. Of course, they famously beat Canada at the 1998 World Junior. Nick Andrew probably remember that Kazakh team. Remember they had a player, they had a right-hand shot who broke a stick and didn't have any extra right-hand sticks, so Canada gave them one.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. From innovative fridges to the latest laundry pairs, nobody beats our prices on appliances. Guaranteed.
Niagara Falls, that's the U.S. side. And by the way, the U.S. Weather Service reporting that if this cold snap continues another week, the falls may actually freeze. It's happened.
When was the last time?
2014. They don't completely freeze, like the water runs under the ice, but the ice goes right across the top.
That's pretty astounding.
That's fast-moving water to freeze.
Warmer today, though. I mean, it's a scale, but it's warmer today than it was when we got here.
We had a chuckle yesterday. I made a crack during the outdoor game that we know the weather will be better in Vancouver, Victoria next year. And then a friend of yours sent a text showing snow in Victoria yesterday.
Let's hope there's none of that next year.
Steele to Dubé. Plays it across to Steele. Back at the point for Clegg. His shot was blocked and kicked out by Lucas Anderson. Steele up ahead for Dubé. Drops it back. Kyrou with it. Jordan Kyrou kicked that deeply. They got slammed down by Christian Wjc. Wjc played in the Quebec League last year for Blainville. And then Thomas went after him and took the worst of that into the bench door. Steenbergen works in. Steenbergen pivots back for Makar to Bean. And Jake Bean shoots. That goes wide. Now Steenbergen back on it. Down to Gadjevich. Banks it back to Bean. Makar. Moved ahead by Daniel Nielsen, but the wall was sealed by Gadjevich. Now it's flipped over the head of Bean, and the puck goes out. Pretty
solid thump by Christian Wjc. as he runs into Kyrou and blasts him off his feet. And sometimes what ends up happening to players in a game like this is you don't know the other players, you don't necessarily respect them as much as you would somebody that you know in your league, so you think you're just going to knock everybody over, and then you find out, oh, that guy's really solid, that, you know, this player's a little different, but you don't know the players necessarily, so you think you're going to take advantage of almost everybody, and it just doesn't happen.
Fabro in, shoots, save made, rebound, score. Howden taps home the backhand, and Canada's got a 2-0 lead. And Brett Howden has his first of this World Junior.
So that's 11 players with a goal in this tournament for Canada. Started with a face-off win, a simple point shot, and all kinds of traffic. And the Tampa Bay first-rounder from 2016, Brett Howden's going to dunk this into the empty net. Good work on the draw, and then when the point shot comes through, you see the chaos in front of the net. Comtois keeps the puck alive right there, and then Howden's got the wide-open net to shovel the backhand in, and it's 2-0. But that was good work on the draw. They stayed in the puck battle. They won the puck and get it back to Fabro at the point, and his shot goes into the mess in front of the goaltender Granso, and eventually it's going to get poked to Howden for him to push into the empty net.
Every year there's a series between the Canadian junior prospects from the 3 leagues and a touring Russian team, and in that series in the West, Brett Howden hurt his hand of his 12 games. Now it's deal again. Blichfeld in, shoot! There's just wide. Another chance for Blichfeld. Once again, Carter Hart got a piece. So Blichfeld's had 2 good looks here in the first period.
And as much as Canada's dominated the period, you see how the underdog plays. You hang around, you get a chance, but you have to make good on them. Blichfeld's missed 2 real good ones, and it's one thing to get a chance when you just get it. When it's your best scorer, you need to finish one of those.
Blichfeld, a San Jose 7th round draft pick. Led Denmark in scoring at last year's tournament. And now Blichfeld back with it. Poke checked away from him, and Bean sends it up for Comtois. Now the point that I'm sure the coaching staff will make in a quarterfinal, semifinal, or gold medal game, those are the kind of chances that can cost you a game.
Can't give them up. You're right. You can't fall asleep, which Canada has a couple of times. The first one to Blichfeld was, they really did fall asleep. That one's a little bit different.
In comes Foot, sends it back. Great pad save, rebound off the goalpost. But a great first stop made there by Granso. Shoot shot was blocked by Grundvig. And now brought back by Spystrup. He shoots, pounds that wide. Weiss back on it. And Spystrup taken off the puck by Bean, but now it's scooped up in the corner by Schultz. Leave there for Lucas Anderson. And now Bean plays it off the glass and back to center. Mortensen. Fires it down the Canadian zone. Clegg plays it there for Timmins. Connor Timmins spins back. Timmins up ahead for Dubé. Dylan Dubé works in, plays it across to Kyrou. Kyrou spins it back. Clegg a shot. Granso save. Rebound. Score. Steal. And it's 3-0 Canada.
Got a couple of goals from 1.5 feet in front of the net here, where they stay on the puck and battle away for it. Steele is going to be able to punch this in. Timmins starts the play. Nice breakout, simple play, which we have seen from him this entire tournament. The point shot's going to actually hit Steele in the crease from Clegg, and it falls right behind the goaltender Granso, and from the blue paint, Steele swipes this into the net. He's got 3 in the tournament.
So Steele has scored against the Finns and the Slovaks. Has his 3rd, the Anaheim first-round pick. Talking this over here. it is a goal. Steele was in the crease, but the puck was there as well, so. So 3 goals on 13 shots, a 3-0 Canadian lead. And Steele plays around for Kyrou. Back to Timmins. And across to Clay. In comes Steele. Shoots right at the horn. And the save made by Granso. So with a chance to clinch first place in the group, Canada has a 3-0 lead on Denmark on this December 30th at the 2018 World Junior Hockey Championship. Our first intermission with James Duthie and the panel is coming up next. Here's your first period scoring summary. Canada with a 3-0 lead. Robert Thomas and Brett Howden have their first of this World Junior, and Sam Steele has his third with 21 seconds left in the period. Canada outshoots Denmark 14-4. Gord Miller back here with Ray Ferraro. And Ray, these games can be hard to evaluate for coaches and for administrators and for fans, but what were your thoughts on the first period?
Well, outside of the couple plays that the guys talked about that they gave up the chances, basically breakaway chances to Blickfield, I thought Canada worked pretty hard, and of the things that Coach Dominic Ducharme would want to see from his team today after a disappointing loss yesterday in a game that was more than a game and lots going on, is you want your guys to go back to work today, and the Canadian team has done that. They've won a lot of loose pucks. They've built a couple of second chances off of loose pucks. Here's the Howden goal. It's a face-off scramble play, but they stay in the battle. They stay on the puck, and eventually Howden's going to chip it into the empty net. The second goal is really much the same way. Clake's shot hits Steele, but Steele's in front of the net. He's in tight to the goaltender. The puck hits him, he dunks it in the empty net. So I would say, for the most part, it was a pretty good period for Canada. What generally is going to happen in a game like this is, as hard as Denmark will work, they're working to stay as close to level as they can. If Canada works hard, eventually you wear them down and you fill the net late.
Now Kyrou with the quick move, drops it back for Dubé, and Dylan Dubé shovels that wide. And Clague back for it. Jordan Kyrou snaps that pass across for Dubé, shoots and took a stick with him as the puck rolled down to Granso. Kick both away, now right up the pipe is Dubé, and the rebound put wide by Kyrou. How did either of them miss?
They will wonder.
Trying, back across, and firing that wide was Ronberg. Jonas Ronberg was a Vegas third-round pick in 2017. We saw him, remember, 2 years ago as a 16-year-old, right? As Timmins works in, shoots, and ramps off a stick, up and out of play.
Replays presented by
Dubé scored a nice goal yesterday and then got hurt late in the game. Was able to stay in. He's going to get a chance here from right in front of the net. Rings it off the post, and then Kyrou chips the rebound wide of the net as the puck is spinning. It comes off the post, and Dubé and Kyrou shake their head on the Canadian bench.
Daniel Nielsen with it. Up ahead for Nikolai Krog, who spins back in the corner. Leaves it there for Wjc. And there's Thomas with it for Canada. Up ahead to Radish, and Taylor Radish chips that in. Back is Daniel Nielsen for it. And plays the puck around for Lasse Mortensen. All right, the icing call will bring the face-off back to the Danish zone. I have some apologies to make. We talked about the Wjc Goose. I was right about the goose in Wjc, but I was wrong about two other things. It's a giant moose in Dryden, Ontario. A member of the Pronger family emailed to tell me that. And it's the UFO landing pad in Alberta is in St. Paul, not Vegreville. That was a member of the Edmonton Oilers texted to tell us that. So my apologies for getting the roadside attractions wrong.
There will be a course on this later on.
There is still a big nickel in Sudbury, last I checked. and Muskie the Muskeg in Kenora, Ontario. But beyond that, I'm going no further lest I draw the wrath. And I'm assuming the Pronger family doesn't take things lightly, judging by the best known member of it. Another icing call against the Danes.
Victor Mete has been a mainstay on the blue line here in the first 4 games. He and Cale Clegg have been among the tournament minutes played leaders.
And by the way, if Montreal sends him back to junior after the tournament, he could play for Canada at the Olympics. Even though he played in the NHL this year, he would be eligible to play for Canada at the Olympic Games. Connor Timmins brings it ahead for Gadjevich, and the play's offside at the Danish line.
That's a real good play by Timmins. He has had a good tournament for Canada. I've liked his game a lot. He's a pretty simple player, direct, efficient, moves the puck out of his zone, but he skates the puck well. Colorado drafted Timmins in the 2nd round of last year. They drafted Cale Clegg in the 1st round, and as the rebuilding Avs look to the future, got a couple of right-handed defensemen that are going to be pretty interesting for them.
First time Timmins has played for Canada in an IHF event. Lead pass for Steele, knocked down and played away there by Wjc. And now Foot plays it down. Kyrou tried to swing that back. Up along the boards, the play kept alive by Foot for a moment. And now Christopher Gatt has it back. Dylan Dubé picks it free. That pass intercepted and brought back the other way by Philip Schultz. Across the line, Gatt had to wait for teammates to get onside. That gives Jake Bean some time as Bean looks ahead for Kyrou. Pass out of his reach. And now Dubé digging for it. Here's Bean at center ice. Fires it back down to the Danish zone. Steele gets there first for Canada. Sam Steele pokes that free. Laid back to Makar. And a shot by Radish, stopped in tight by Granso. Granso is a 19-year-old who plays for Topeka in the North American Hockey League. That shot dribbles down to Carter Hart, who hangs on to that.
There's Jonas Ronberg, a 3rd-round pick by Vegas in the 2017 draft. A really good skater. He plays in the Swedish Hockey League for Växjö. He's got 5 goals there. We've seen him a couple of times at this tournament now, our 3rd look, and he's a good player. I like him a lot. He's strong. He can get himself into the middle of the ice. Not scared to go there.
Alberg. Long lead pass knocked down by Krog. Now the puck skips over the glass and out. We're getting even more of these roadside attractions now. Dwayne Rollison texting saying there's the Big Apple in Cobourg, Ontario, east of Toronto.
We've got to learn this stuff. I mean,
you know, we should compile a list of all the. Wonder what prompted people. I know what we'll do. We'll put a giant animal by the road. That'll draw the people in.
Yeah, I'm not getting the marketing to that. There's got to be a reason, though, right?
Well, the big goose in Wawa is because in First Nations language, Wawa means goose.
Sure, I get that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for it. The big nickel in Sudbury because they mine nickel there.
Can't fool you. No. You're right on this one.
Trail. Just nothing.
It's the end of the trail. End of the Dudney Trail.
And the Trail Smoke Eaters, of course.
Yeah, but they didn't name the town after they had the team.
No. Put you on the map, though.
Absolutely.
Gadjevich in, shoots. Legendary Canadian national team. Now knocked down there by Batherson trying to work it free. Here's Makar with it. Shoots through traffic. That goes just wide. And play is called.
The Chevrolet Good Deeds Cup is back. Does your Pee Wee team have what it takes to perform the most impressive good deed in Canada? Submit yours before December 31st at ChevroletHockey.com.
3-0 Canada leads here. You mentioned Jonas Ronberg playing in his 3rd World Juniors, an 18-year-old. He can become next year the 11th player to play in 4 World Juniors. Ray Rutsalayan did it. Michael Frolik. I believe the last Canadian to do it was Jason Botterill, now the GM here in Buffalo. He's the only player to win gold medals in 3 World Juniors. And of course, his sister Jennifer, an Olympic gold medalist. Sam Steele lays it back down. Here's Dylan Dubé. Picks it out of the corner. Dubé drops it off for Foot. Cal Foot down behind the goal for Kyrou. Leaves it there for Steele. Threads that back in front off a skating wide. Kyrou banks it back for Bean. Cross he goes to Foot. And Foot chuck was off the end boards right to Kyrou. Trying to swat that back in front. And now Bean has it back. Jake Bean down to Kyrou. Kyrou with time, holds, works it back in, shoots, and the save made by Granso, who got just enough to knock that wide.
You see the way the Danes defend. They're not going to get out one-on-one on players very often because they're worried about getting beat, so they sit back in more of a zone. The problem with that is if you never challenge, you never break the cycle up. And Canada looks like they're on a power play at times when they get set up. They just move the puck around the outside until they can get it into a spot in the middle.
And now the Danes ice it with 14-13 to go here in the second.
There's the 19-year-old Emil Granso, Gord, you mentioned earlier, plays in Topeka in the North American Hockey League, and he's just going to get enough of this one as it trickles by the right post. He gets a little help from Christian Larson, who whacks it out of danger.
We mentioned that Kasper Krog, the #1 goaltender for Denmark, not playing tonight. They'll save him for the game tomorrow against the Slovaks, and the Danes could win that. They can qualify for the quarterfinal. Slovaks beaten by the Finns earlier today. And the Slovaks, of course, have that upset win against the United States. Radish got spun around, and a penalty coming out of the Danes. With 13:49 to go here in the second period. Canada with a 3-0 lead. We'll go to the power play here in Buffalo.
Canada will get their second power play here as a hooking penalty on Andreas Grundtvig ties up Taylor Radish, and Canada's power play will get back at it. 6 power play goals in the tournament for them.
From 6 different players. See when the game against the United States.
Team Denmark penalty number 22.
Kyrou plays it for Mete, back across to Steele. Matheson parked right in front. Now Steele back with it. Steele works in, waits and shoots, missed far side, and the puck comes back out. Mete swings back for it. They watch there by Daniel Nielsen. Mete streaks away and winds his way through center ice. Drops it back, and the puck bobbled for a moment by Steele. And Steele back across to Kyrou as Canada gets set up. Mete with it again, drops it back to Kyrou. Rink wide he goes to Steele, who walks in. Flips it up for Dubé. Dubé pokes it around for Radish. Knocked down by Mete. Cross to Steele. Drops it back to Kyrou. Fans on that shot. And Schultz on the second try sends it back up center ice. Here's Steele with it. And Steele steps across the line, but the play is offside.
Kyrou had been knocked down at the far side of the blue line. He was slow getting up. And as he was getting up, the play turned around and came back into the zone. Kyrou actually gets hit with the follow through here. Philip Schultz's stick. And as he's getting up, the play's offside on the far side of the ice.
By the way, Canada, we mentioned, will not play on New Year's Eve. The last time that they didn't play a New Year's Eve game at the World Junior Championship was in 2005 at the tournament in Grand Forks, North Dakota. No one did. There were no games on December 31st. Batherson drops that off to Bean. To the point to Makar. Cale Makar down to Batherson. 40 seconds to go in this Canadian power play, and the puck chopped by Makar. Played 9.5 against the United States, did Makar. 25 against the Slovaks, and prior to that, under 7 against the Finns. Here's Makar back with it. To Bean. Back to Makar. Winds in. Wait, shoots, scores!
That's power play goals in back-to-back games for Makar. Man, he's agile. When he has the puck, he's going to make a move, make a little twist, adjust his pace. Look at the play he makes here. He's got nowhere to go, so he flips it. Not really a flip pass, but he just flips it back towards Jake Bean. Bean gives it back to him, and Makar dances into the slot. Head up. That's a great look at that, isn't it? Head up, looking where the goaltender is, and a beautiful delivery to make it 4-0 Canada.
Makar is a freshman at UMass Amherst, and his coach there, Greg Carville, a former assistant coach in Ottawa, was there when Erik Karlsson broke in with the Senators, and Carville is hesitant to compare anyone obviously to Erik Karlsson, but said the instincts are there, the skating, the offense. What he's talked to Makar about is, look at Charlie McAvoy with the Boston Bruins and what the second year at BU did for him instead of turning pro after the freshman year. And Charlie McAvoy is now not just a regular for Boston, but a frontline player for the Bruins.
And McAvoy played his sophomore year and then turned pro at the end of the year, ended up playing in the playoffs last year against Ottawa, was terrific, and has had an outstanding rookie year for the Bruins.
Go, 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 go! Steenbergen brings it ahead now for Canada. Drops it back for McLeod. To the trailer Gadjevich, and pinballs around in front, and it's knocked away by Nikolai Krag. Here's Steenbergen, wins that battle for the puck and plays it down to Gadjevich. To McLeod, spins out of the corner. And now McLeod's pass is picked off and brought ahead by Ronberg. That long shot fired wide by Blichfeld, who had 2 breakaways really in the first period. 1 full breakaway and a partial. Turned away both times. Shots are 21-5 in favor of Canada. Canada can win the group tonight with a win of any kind. Cal Foot in, shoots, score! Tipped in front by Houghton, and it's 5-0.
Couple assists for Cal Foot, a couple of goals for Brett Houghton. And as I talked about at the start of this period, if you work hard enough, if you're Canada, eventually you're just going to wear down Denmark. They're just not going to be able to stay with you, because everything they do is about keeping the game level for them. So when they turn the puck over, they can't get it back. They're not quick enough. Nice play by Formanton to start this. Howden camped out right on top of the paint, and his tip will go underneath the arm of Granso, and it's 5-0.
And the Danes have called timeout.
Nobody's saying anything at that Danish bench right now.
Well,
now Eller is back into it. Not going to give in.
No, he doesn't. You know,
I like it. I like it a lot.
I mean, no one would expect the Danes, who have never beaten Canada, to have a chance to win the game, but Canada scores 2 goals in a minute and a half, and he does what any coach would do. He calls timeout to try to settle his team down and urge them on. And the last 3 years, Ray, they've punched above their weight more than any other team in this tournament. Really. Howden tries to center it. That's knocked down. And brought in by Mulga. Alex Formanton back for it. He took a hard bump into the inboards. Now, I guess you got to balance that with wanting to have something in the tank for the game against the Slovaks tomorrow night. It's a 6 o'clock start across the street at the Harbor Center. As Formanton dives, but can't stay onside.
Yeah, the issue there is you can't just stop playing. You got to play. There's half a game left, and if you're going to play it, you might as well play it well. So for Canada, it's been pretty much as expected here. Here's the 5th goal again as Formanton finds Foot wide open at the blue line, and no stick tied up in front of the net, and an easy tip for Howden, and then it finds its way under the arm of the goaltender.
So, as you mentioned, a lot of Canadian players getting their first taste of the score sheet in this tournament. So Canada will have an unusual 2 days off as Steele comes in and fires that wide. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day will be off days for the Canadians, who will then play in the quarters, presumably in the early slot, the 4 o'clock slot here on January the 2nd. Clegg shoots, and a crease violation called against Kyrou. The face-off will come outside, and we'll step away for a moment. Canada has a 5-0 lead. McCarr and Howden now the latest Team Canada goal. Back here in Buffalo, lots of action here tomorrow, and then Canada on Tuesday will play in the quarterfinals against an opponent yet to be determined at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. If you had to guess right now, Switzerland. But the other side is...
That's still got a little bit of sorting out to do.
Right, so we know Belarus is out.
So, yeah, so we know the 4 teams advancing, just going to be their finish order.
Team Canada's fifth goal, his second of the game. Scored by number 21.
Swiss play the Czechs tomorrow. Russia plays Sweden in the nightcap here tomorrow night. Swedes ran a record of 3-0 this afternoon with a win against the Swiss. And you got your first up close look at that Swedish defense.
The Swedes were kind of cruising along, sort of playing the game up 3-1 late in the second. Give up a late goal to make it 3-2. The Swiss scored in the last minute, and then all of a sudden in the third, the Swedes started to go. That defense started to take the game over. Their forwards, Elias Pettersson and...
So by Alberg, stopped by Hart. Hangs on to that with Cragg sitting on the doorstep. Elias Anderson, strong performance as well.
Elias Anderson had a couple of goals. Alex Nylander, that's their top line. And then on the blue line, Eric Brandstrom and Rasmus Dahlin in particular really started to roll here in the third period, and they'll be a formidable opponent as you get into the semis. And although the Swedes have had, what is it, 42 in a row now, Gord? 43 in a row that they've won in the preliminary round, and they've just fallen on their noses in the medal round. They just haven't been able to get themselves to where you think they would be.
So since 2008, 43 consecutive wins in the preliminary round of the tournament, 1 gold medal to show for it. 3 straight 4th place finishes. Yeah, no medals the last 3 years. Sjöström takes the return pass in the corner. Brings that back to Alberg, but the puck bounced off his stick and back out. And the Russians, I mean, the last time the tournament was here, they lost their first 2 games and went on to win the gold medal. Same head coach.
I'm not sure the Finns have played their best game yet. A very good defense, albeit a younger defense.
We'll see them against the United States tomorrow afternoon here in the 4 o'clock game. Finns have 5 first-round picks on their defense and a huge team. A number of their top players are 6'3 plus. McLeod drops that back for Foot. Cal Foot swings it across to Bean. Bean up by the Gadjevich. And Gadjevich works in. His backhand shot goes wide. Bean reaching for it. And Bean able to hold the line. Back down to Gadjevich. Gadjevich gets bumped in the corner. Matheson comes to help pick it out. And now Gadjevich gives it off to McLeod. He got spun around. And Gadjevich digs for it. Batherson to McLeod, who brings it around again. This time Bean can't reach it. Chipped in by Batherson, but Canada in the middle of a change. Oliver Larson goes back for it. And now Foot got spun around by Magnus Mulligan. Connor Timmins back to Cal Foot. Mortensen off the puck. Timmins missed it. Timmins recovers, picks up a loose puck. Largely Canadian crowd enjoying itself on a Saturday night in Buffalo as Alex Formanton works in. He got bumped. And now Timmins with a shot. He fanned on that. And now he takes down Magnus Mulga. And Timmins will take a penalty.
Yeah, the puck's poked past Connor Timmins, and now he's stuck, so he's going to reach out and take the interference penalty here as Magnus Mulga has a clean step. So Canada, 14 minors in the tournament coming in. That's their first penalty today with 6 minutes left here in period 2.
Danes are 1 for 4 on the power play. Krog had that power play goal against the Finns in the 4-1 loss. He's out there along with Ronberg and Sveshov up front. Puck pulled free. Dubé digging for it. Krog has it back down for the Danes. They get set up on the power play. Blickfeld back to Krog. Takes a return pass from Ronberg. And now his pass back skips away. And back to pick it up is Setkov. Setkov for Krag. Blickfeld trying to drop it back. Krag trying to dig it free, and now Setkov can't hold the line. That gives Bean some time. And Bean can just leave it there. Now throw it ahead for Dubé. As Dylan Dubé shorthanded, flips it back down to the Danish zone.
Dubé and Blickfeld are screaming at each other. Actually, Dubé is screaming at Blickfeld, who gave him a little bit of a smack to the back of the helmet when he was leaving the ice. And don't forget, they play in the same division in the Western League out. Kelowna for Dubé and Portland for Blickfeld.
To be continued. Howden across the line, drops it off for Clegg. Gadjevic's shot, and Granso got an arm on that to knock it out of play with 46 seconds to go in the Danish power play.
Dubé is going to clear this puck, and there's the first hit, but this is the part that Dubé doesn't like, and Dubé's starting to yell at him as Blickfeld skates away. It's the punch to the back of the head he's not crazy about, and you see Blickfeld turn around and they continue on their conversation, which probably has several more rounds to go.
I forget how many times they play each other now in the Western League, but I remember Ken Hitchcock telling us a story about being in Kamloops. They played Spokane 12 times in the regular season and then played each other in a best-of-9 series that went the distance.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. With our wide selection of top brand appliances, nobody beats our prices. Guaranteed.
You can get awful sick of a player or an opponent playing them that many times.
I believe those best-of-9s were outlawed due to public safety concerns. Best-of-9. Oh.
They were trying to even out when the series would end from east to west. The West didn't have as many teams, and so somebody in their wisdom came up with a best-of-9. I guess a best-of-11 was too long.
Back at the point. That shot tipped right on by Larson, and Hart makes the save.
That's a good point shot by Oliver Larson, deflected about halfway to the net, and Carter Hart has to squeeze up to make the stop. Having a conversation with the referee now as Philip Schultz is in the middle, but it's Larson's point shot. This is going to hit Timmins' stick, or rather Makar's stick, and make this save a lot more challenging for Carter Hart.
Just 7 seconds to go in the Danish power play. And now Wjc is shown out of the face-off circle. Steele wins that draw back to Bean. Around it goes to Foot for Dubé. One shot for the Danes in that power play, and comes Steele for it. Lasse Mortensen The center ice knocked down by Steenbergen, and he was sent flying by Daniel Nielsen. Christian Larson lifts that to the line. Steenbergen digging for it, trying to find Dubé. This is Dubé, Steele, and Steenbergen, the forward line for Canada. And Steenbergen flattened Christian Larson. Dubé comes in. And you talk about discipline at the start of the game. An interference call will go against Canada's Dylan Dubé, and Denmark's going back to the power play.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Dylan Dubé is going to get an interference penalty here. That's an angry interference penalty after his last set to with Joachim Blickfield. I'm not happy with the penalty.
Team Canada penalty number 9, Dubé.
Blickfield plays it back across to Setkov. Ronberg plays it back in, takes the return pass, drops it back, and the one-time shot stopped by Hart there off the stick of Spaystrup. Now Krag trying to find Spaystrup. It's knocked down the ice by Comtois. And right down to Granso. Out to play it and flip that by Formanson. The far blue line, Spaystrup. Worked in, Formanson got a stick on him. Now Krag in the corner for Spaystrup. To Krag. Walks off the boards. He watched there by foot, plays it back. Setkov to Blickfeld. Back to Setkov. In for Krag. That rink-wide pass missed, and now Bean has it. You're going to tell the Danes to shoot the puck.
We can only pass it around so often. I mean, I know it's against, you know, they're trying to control the puck, to find a perfect lane. Sometimes there isn't a perfect lane. You make the lane by shooting the puck and getting the penalty killers to move around.
Now the centering pass goes off the stick as Madsen tried to thread that in there. Krag back on it.
There's another example. He shoots the puck and you got a chance for a rebound.
Blickfeld. Back for Krag. Chopped that by Clegg. And McLeod sends it down. Don't pass the puck into the net.
Hey, hey, hey!
Not going to get there.
Go!
Now Hart lost it behind the goal. And Timmins back with it. They didn't have to go here in the second period. Alberg takes the return pass, walks in and shoots. That's blocked by McLeod. The puck comes back out. Lucas Anderson works his way in, plays it across to Madsen, in, shoots, and Hart makes the stop, but there's no rebound. One shot for the Danes in that power play as Dubé is back on the ice for Canada.
And Hart has made a lot of saves like that in this tournament where he's just in the right spot. There's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of flash. He reads this cross seam pass. It's a pretty decent release by Spaystrup. Oh, my mistake by Madsen. But look where Hart is. He's in a comfortable position, not really over-challenged. Catches it in his belly, and it's an easy stop for him.
Big year for Danish hockey coming up, Ray. They'll host the World Championship in Herning and Copenhagen in May. We'll be there for that.
1 minute remaining.
Canada will play its pool games in Herning, the hometown of Frederick Anderson, among others.
To get some restaurant reservations.
Make sure you bring your credit card this time.
Why? You have one.
Not supposed to work that way. Icing call against the Danes.
For Canada, 3 goals in the first, 2 here in the second. Cale Makar on the power play, and Brett Howden with his second. Made it 5-0 Canada, a pretty comfortable spot for them here.
Cale Makar, the 19-year-old, and give Makar credit, Ray. He committed to UMass early, and then had that big year for the Brooks Bandits in the AHL, and then some of the big schools started calling, and they jam away at it. And he stayed true to his commitment to UMass Amherst. He had not signed a letter of intent yet, but made the commitment, stuck with it. But picked 4th overall by the Avalanche out of the Brooks Bandits, team that plays in southern Alberta.
75 points in 54 games.
The Canadian Junior A Player of the Year. He was drafted in the 8th round by the Medicine Hat Tigers. He was 135 pounds when he was picked.
We talk about the crapshoot that's the NHL draft.
Try drafting bantams.
You know, like, they're all walking around trying to find the kids' parents to see what their genetics might be, how much they grow. Maybe they can... He drafted a 14-year-old kid. Tough to get it right a lot. That's why you see so many of the guys that are low picks that turn out to be such terrific players. They have a growth spurt. They can't call them a late bloomer. They're 14, but they come along a little later.
Howson drops it back. Clegg with a shot. Stopped there by Granso. And picked up by Craig as time winds down. Drops it back. Blichfeld in, shoots, and Hart got a shoulder on that. Another good scoring chance there for Joachim Blichfeld right at the horn. But Carter Hart has turned them all away, and Canada has extended its lead to 5-0. The 2018 World Junior Hockey Championship continues. So Buffalo, our second intermission, is coming in now. Here's your second period summary. Canada adds to its lead. Cale Makar gets his second in as many games in the power play. Brett Howden gets his second at 9:20, and Canada outshoots Denmark 25-11 through 40 minutes of play. Gord Miller back here with Ray Ferraro. And Ray, one of the biggest breaks Canada got was in early December when the Montreal Canadiens made defenseman Victor Mete available. Interesting how the year went on, because when he made the team out of camp, the Canadiens that is, it seemed like it might be a big loss for the junior team, because he's going to get sent back, he's playing so well, he's not going to come back. He was doing this in the National Hockey League, very comfortable skating the puck, a terrific skater, and what really impressed people in Montreal was the way he was able to defend a much bigger forward. He hasn't run into any problems here at the tournament. He's been an excellent player, and while he hasn't piled up the points, his poise, his ability to read where the open ice is such a mature aspect of his game. And of course, when he skates like he does, he can get around the ice so quickly. As a 16-year-old, he went head-to-head with Connor McDavid in a playoff series. Mete playing for London, McDavid and Erie, and Coach Dale Hunter said that Mete was McDavid's equal in that series, and they knew then they had a pretty good player. The London Knights were hoping to get him back for this year. Still possible that Montreal could send him back after the tournament. That has happened before. As Howden picks it up. Around the comptoir. And now Howden trying to center it. That's picked off and moved ahead by Krog. Blichfeld. Sent that rink wide. And now Setkov back with it. Krog. Pass skips down to the Canadian zone. Timmins goes back for it. Hart leaves it there for him. And we'll wrap up the round robin tonight and wait to see tomorrow who the potential quarterfinal opponent will be. And right now it's a wide open question heading the last day of the preliminary round. Steele's rink wide pass is chipped away by Ronberg. And now Jonas Ronberg has it back. Brought in by Wjc. Had his pocket picked by Steenbergen and moved ahead by Kyrou. Knocked out of the line by Jake Bean. Centers it, and that's chopped away by Oliver Larsson. And a chance now for the Danes, but the puck skipped away from Daniel Nielsen. And the puck goes into the Canadian bench.
So at this point, Canada wants to just run this game to the end. Roll 4 lines as briskly as you can. Make sure everybody gets through as healthy as possible. You get a couple of days off, as you mentioned earlier, Gordon, which really rarely happens in a tournament, that you get to recharge, and they'll go into the quarterfinal on January 2nd.
Well, I remember the 98 tournament, so 20 years ago, Canada rolling along up 5-0 on Germany. Captain Jesse Wallen blocks a shot late in the third period. Broke his foot. He's out for the tournament. Canada loses in overtime to the Russians in the quarters. and the thing spins out of control. Canada won up 8 that year. And Team USA has had a couple of injuries up front, so the Americans are playing shorthanded. We don't know for how long. As Lassie Mortensen brings it in.
The word is that Will Lockwood is likely not going to return in the tournament. He was hurt in the outdoor game yesterday. And
the Vancouver third-round pick, and then Ottawa's first-round pick, Logan Brown, got hurt early on, suffered a knee injury. So
depending on whether he's okay, he's going to have a couple more days as well.
And the puck shoveled into the Danish bench, and looking on is Keith Tkachuk, whose son Brady was a major part of the outdoor game. We had a chance to talk to him, nicknamed Walt.
Big Walt is a great character of the game. He part of probably as good a group of American players that all came along together. Himself and Doug Waite and Billy Guerin and
Jeremy Roenick,
Brian Leach,
Tony Amonte.
I played with him at the end of my career in St. Louis, and man, he is a funny guy.
Loves the game. Working for the Blues.
They were very happy about the fact that one of their draft picks, Clint Costin, has had a really good tournament after not playing very much in the first game.
Now McCarr goes back, and icing called against the Danes. Michael McLeod got spilled into the Danish goal.
McLeod missed the start of the year. He had knee surgery in training camp in New Jersey, and he's going to spin after getting bumped here and runs into the goalpost. Ouch.
That's one of those situations where a guy can get hurt.
Here's the problem with trying to get through healthy is you can't try to play that way, because then you're just kind of skating around in one place. You play right, you keep your head up, and you just hope for the best in a lot of cases.
TJ Oshie getting hurt for Team USA on an innocent-looking play at the 06 World Junior in Vancouver. Jaden Schwartz got hurt here at Buffalo. Took a shot off the foot. And long shooting, gloved down by Hart. Plays it around for Timmins. Connor Timmins up for Alex Formanton. Rink wide pass to Cal Foot across the line. Foot in shoots. Knocked down. Now Comtois with a chance, and looked like Granville got a piece of that to knock it wide. And Ronberg brings it ahead now for the Deans. Blickfeld works back in. Plays it back for Ronberg. That was knocked away and brought up by Timmins, who flips that pass ahead, finds Formanton in alone, shoots, scores! Great pass and a terrific finish by Formanton, and it's 6-0 Canada.
Alex Formanton's first goal of the tournament comes at the end of this shift. Oh, that's a terrific save and effort by Emil Granso to make that stop. The little chip flip by Connor Timmins. And Alex Formanton becomes the 12th player for Team Canada to score their first goal in this tournament. The Ottawa Senators pick jams this under the bar, and it's 6-0.
Alex Formanton, an 11th round OHL draft pick. He was 5'7", 135 pounds when he got picked. He's 6'2", 175 now. With Ottawa at the start of the year, played one game for them. He's back now with the London Knights. Played across now, Steenbergen shoots from a sharp angle, that's punched out by Granso. Knocked out the line by McCarr for Clegg. Cale Clegg slaps it back across. And brought back now by Nielsen. Daniel Nielsen. The lines there was Steele. And McCarr has it back for Clegg. Canada 4-0 all-time against the Danes at the World Junior Championship. It outscored them 28-4. So it's now a 34-4 margin. Icing called against the Danes.
And Timmins is going to wedge this through a little flip pass, and it bounces off one of the Dane's stick right to Formanton. That's really good finishes. Granso is down low, and Formanton goes right up over the right arm.
It's funny, we saw Mitch Marner in the preseason for Toronto. We're talking about two of his former London teammates, Mete and Formanton, and asked him about him. He said, Mete's an NHL defenseman for sure, and Formanton can flat out fly. Both scouting reports pretty accurate. Mete was in the NHL until the middle of December, and Formanton's speed has been on display throughout this tournament. Robert Thomas across for Bean. And Tkachuk plays it up for Radish, who flips that in the corner. Tkachuk has that knocked away. Now back at the line. Held by Timmins. Feeds it back across for Radish. And Radish works it back through the slot. Radish walks in, waits, holds. And now a sharp angle shot by Tkachuk. Deflects wide. Here's Bean with it. Back to Thomas. High off the glass. Knocked down by Bean. And Bean flips it back in. Gadjevich collided there with Gudvig. And a drop pass for Mulga. Plays it back for Oliver Larsson. Skips out the other side to Makar. And Radish. Gathers up the bouncing puck. Plays it to the line and just out. 29-12. The shots on goal in favor of Canada. 6-0 lead. So Canada has first place in the group within its grasp as McLeod winds in. McLeod moves in. Shovels that towards the goal and it's tipped wide there by Matheson. Foot with a big hit there on Mulga. And now McLeod pivots back. McLeod down in the corner. Matheson in, shoots. First save made, rebound loose in front. McLeod digging for it. Gadjevich couldn't reach it. And Lasse Mortensen has it back. Back to pick it up as Makar. Howden works his way in. Brett Howden centers it, and the glove save is made by Granso. Alex Formanton, the latest Canadian goal scorer. A low angle look at a top shelf shot. Canada partners with the Canadian Hockey League to put the best under 20 players on the ices. Canada's national junior team with 60 teams. The CHL is the world's largest development hockey league. For all of the CHL's news and info, visit chl.ca. Howden wins that face-off back to Clegg. Cale Clegg, a star with the Brandon Wheat Kings of the Western Hockey League. Trying to work that free. Was taken down. The penalty coming now to Jakob Jessen of Denmark.
Be Canada's third power play.
It's actually
there's the penalty.
Setkov who goes off.
Saying it's not me.
By the way, the youngest player in this tournament is the Danes' backup goaltender Mads Søgaard, turned 17 2 weeks ago. He's 6'6". Plays in the North American Hockey League in Austin, Minnesota.
Number 17, Lucas Anderson. 2 minutes remaining.
Kyrou works it back across. Clegg shoots. It's deflected. And Granso makes the stop. Søgaard's not eligible for the draft until 2019.
Canada moves the puck around on the power play, and Tyler Steenbergen, who's got 86 goals in 99 games in the Western Hockey League, is going to tip this in the high slot. Look at Steenbergen, 17, and what's notable about this is Steenbergen is one of two forwards that doesn't have a goal for Canada in this tournament. Remarkable the balance across their lineup so far.
The guy who had 21 goals in his first 11 games of the year in the Western League. Kyrou walks in and shoots, and that was blocked by Magnus Mulga. That took a bite out of him. Kyrou plays it back for Clegg. Mulga stays in there. Steele, back to Clegg. Back to Steele, shoots, that deflected wide. I think Clegg elected not to shoot again, preferring hit Mulga again. And here's Clegg, across to Kyrou. Kyrou, backdoor pass for Steele. Clegg for Cairo. Works back in, shoots, just missed wide. Steele back on it. Back to Clegg. And Clegg back to Steele. Works in, shoots, whistled that wide again. Cairo knocks it down. Feeds across to Clegg. It skipped away from him and back down to the Canadian line. Lead pass to Cairo as Canada changes. Cairo feeds it across to McCarr. Down to Kachuk, and now McCarr down to Batherson. McCarr. Thomas. McCarr shoots, and that deflected just wide. Moog is still out there. Or check that he did make his way up. Thomas lost it. And now flipped ahead by Grudvik, but McCarr, with great speed, swings back to pick it up. Just an effortless skater is Cale Makar.
Covers a lot of ground in a hurry.
And here he comes again. Drops it back off for Thomas. Thomas, rink wide for Bean. Back to Batherson. Final seconds now of the power play. And it's played back down the ice by Setkov. One shot for Canada on that power play. Makar heels that back to center ice. Larson for Vjc. Beam plays it back down to the Danish zone. And here's Larson with it. That pass picked off by McLeod. Works in and shoots, scores!
And that leaves Tyler Steenbergen as the only forward without a goal as Michael McLeod gets his first of the tournament.
20 goals from 13 different players for Canada.
McLeod's got 8 goals in 11 games for Mississauga. He was late to start the year, as we talked about earlier, at knee surgery. He intercepts his clearing attempt from Oliver Larson, and he rips it by Granso. It's a good release. Canada's got another. 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third.
One of 7 returnees from last year's silver medal team for Canada. McLeod, a first-round pick of the Devils, 12th overall in 2016. Devils have 7 prospects here at this World Junior, tied with Calgary for the most. As Steenbergen works in. Steenbergen plays it back across the foot. Timmins back to foot. And again, the margin of score gives Canada a chance to rest of them like then. Conte Fabro was jumping in there with McLeod again. The save made inside by Granso. And then 2 days off, so any Canadians with bumps and bruises get an unusual break here at the World Junior Championship. Almost unheard of to get 2 days off. Formanton winds in. Alex Formanton pivots back in the corner. Plays it back for Bean. And back at center ice is Bean. And wide to Formanton, trying to chip that ahead. The puck goes into the Danish bench.
McLeod's going to come straight off the bench on a change. Trying to find where the puck is. A couple shoulder checks, make sure he's in the right position. And now he's got a clean lane to shoot it. 3 strides, and it's 7-0. That's a good shift. Might as well go change now. You got one.
A lot of coaches won't do that. No matter how early in the shift it was, if you've just scored or been scored on, they'll take you off.
I never understood that. You just stepped on the ice. It's in the net. Now we got to come off. I never understood that. What do you think? We're going to try less because we just scored?
Well, the theory is you might not be as focused having just scored or just been scored upon.
If you had just been scored upon, I think you'd be more likely to be more focused. I think there's something wrong with your little coach's philosophy here, Gord.
My philosophy is what coaches do. Oh my God. 9:24 to go here in the third. A Our crew spend time away at home, obviously for the holidays, and for Jamie Brannigan, it's his birthday. Jamie is
Jamie.
one of the very best at what he does, showing you all the replays and looks. And his son Shane here as well.
Do not shoot me.
Please don't show me. Why am I here? Have I been arrested? Working robotic cameras for us. So happy birthday to Jamie, and hopefully his son Shane buys him one tonight. And Jamie's wife Joanna, also an outstanding technical director who pushes all the buttons for us to figure out the camera angles. All in the family for the Brannigans. And Jamie's with us a long time, and we're glad to have him with us. Kyrou drops it back. Steele trying to play that back in front. Granzo knocked it down.
I'm just thinking a nightmare for Jamie must be. He listens to me all night. Hey, how about this? How about this? Sorry, Jamie. I don't mind that Chris, our producer, has to listen to me. That's good for him.
How about me in the car?
Oh, that's good for you too. Just a wealth of information.
Vice across the line. The play is called offside. So how about this? Boris Kachuk from Team Canada and Connor Timmins both play for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. They won in a shootout tonight. Their 23rd win in a row. Players always keep track of other teams doing without them, obviously. But 23 wins in a row for the Sioux. There's a lot of talk in the OHL that they'll make some moves in the trade deadline. Taylor Radish is in Erie. They're rebuilding. And Radish could go to Sault Ste. Marie when this is all over, load up for a second half run. Although when you won 23 in a row.
What more loading up do you need to do? 23 straight. Congratulations to the Sioux.
Timmins chips it ahead, but we got a penalty behind the play as Makar was taken down. Interference will be the call.
Yeah, just like your haircut. Just like your hair.
And off goes Magnus Molga. Ola Veller actually put his arm on the official there.
There's the trip as Molga goes to finish the check on Makar. Trips him not once but twice. So he's going to trip him initially here as he sticks his leg out. That could be a dangerous play. And then he trips him a second time. And so as part of this, you want to be safe going into the next round. You got to make sure you pay attention to what these guys are doing. If they're going to run around like that, you've got to make sure that you're aware where they are on the ice.
So Canada on the power play is not putting its top power play out there. It's McLeod, Steenbergen, Batherson, Foote, and Timmins. You've liked Connor Timmins in this tournament, haven't you?
I really have liked him a lot. I think he's a really clever player, really smart with the puck.
Foote across to Timmins. Ironically plays in the Sioux. Timmins works in. Did you get that? Timmins plays in the Sioux.
Really? What's their roadside thing? They must have something.
I'm sure I'll hear about it in a minute. McLeod to Timmins across to Foote. Timmins back across to McLeod. In shoots, just missed. And now Foote back on it. A long shot by Timmins, floats wide. Back across it goes to McLeod. To Timmins. McLeod. Back across the Foote, works it back in. Tip score, Batherson. 8-0 Canada.
Batherson gets right off the top of the crease. It's a nice play from Cal Foote. You mentioned, Gord, they're not going with their top power play group anymore. No need with this game well in hand. Foote's going to be over on the right side. He takes that pass from McLeod, and that's a really nice look. Back across. Batherson lifts his stick over Setkov's stick to get his stick in deflecting position. Watch the move he makes here. Over top of Setkov's stick. That's a really smart play by Batherson to get himself into position to deflect it. It doesn't look like much, but if he doesn't lift his stick over Setkov's, that thing's deflected away, and it's a nothing play.
Batherson wasn't picked the first time he was eligible for the National Hockey League draft. Didn't play in the Quebec League till he was 18. Here he is on the Canadian national junior team, an Ottawa 4th-round pick. And a good young prospect for the Senators. 17 goals in his first 24 games this year. Got slashed on the finger, much like Mark Maffaut did last year. Kind of blew the tip off his finger. Now Craig across the line, works it and shoots. It's off foot and high off the glass. Shots are 39-13 Canada. And now Howden has it. Canes lost 9-0 in their opener to the U.S. They've beaten 4-1 by the Finns. Gave the Finns a pretty good test in that one. And we'll close out the round robin tomorrow against the Slovaks as Contois comes in, shoots. Save was made there by Granso. And the rebound scooped up and played out of harm's way by Ronberg. Steele. Sharp angle shot goes wide. Love down by Timmins.
Team captain is 8 goals. Scored by number 19.
Dribbles down to Hart, shoots out in the corner as McCarr picks it up.
Assist number 6 count.
For Dubé.
21 on the foul. Anderson points on the foul.
And Steele across the line, but the play is called offside. Drake Batherson has the goal from New Minas, Nova Scotia. A subdued celebration for the 8th Canadian goal. But Dad Norm loving it in the stands. Back here in Buffalo, the quarterfinals await. Our coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Canada against an opponent yet to be determined. Tiebreakers very much possible on the other side. Three-way ties looming for either first or second place. And lost to play for on this side of the draw tomorrow. We'll have USA Finland at 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow as Steenbergen works in. And then tomorrow night, the night camp from the other side, we'll have Sweden against Russia for first place in that group. The chip plays it back for Clegg. Dale Clegg keeps it across for Bean, poking at it. And Mulga plays that away. In comes Bean, slaps it across to Clegg, works in, shoots. And that was blocked by a sprawling Philip Schultz.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Home Depot. From innovative fridges to the latest laundry pairs, nobody beats our prices on appliances. Guaranteed.
There's 17-year-old Philip Schultz. He goes and lays out. Oh, he gets that on the back foot. As Clegg gets to walk into that. We talked about the Danes aren't going to step away from the game no matter the score. And there's a pretty good example of it. He doesn't need to lay down to block that, but he does.
When you consider the size of Denmark and the fact that the country only has 18 covered rinks, the fact that there's 7 Danes playing in the NHL, pretty remarkable. Frans Nielsen, a very good player for Detroit. Frederick Anderson, of course, the starting goaltender for Toronto. As Gadjevich comes in and shoots, and Granso makes a save on that. Bouncing back in front, Jannik Hansen's had a really good NHL career, as we mentioned. Now banked off the end boards. Nikolai Ehlers in Winnipeg. Here comes Timmins in, shoot. Goes off a leg.
Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Yeah, Columbus. Cal Foote back with it. 4 to go here in the third period.
Cal Foote's quietly got 3 assists tonight.
Bonsoir across to Howden. But Howden didn't shoot short side. Missed there. Played back in by McCarr. Robertson tried to work that free. And Spystrup plays it back down the Canadian zone. Francois has it taken away by Grunthig. Tries to wind his way in, got knocked down by McCarr. Bean picks up the loose puck. And Bean winds his way in, trying to flip that ahead, knocked down by Krog. Nikolai Krog. And across the line. Krog playing in his third and final World Junior for the Danes. Plays it back in Ronberg. Has to go high off the glass. Krog will likely be back for the Danes at the World Championship this spring. And Larson can't hold the line. Bounces down to Hart. And he'll hang on to that. So we haven't decided yet the second through 4 spots in this group, but Canada with 3 wins in the overtime loss, now on 10 points, clinches first place. Finns play the U.S. tomorrow. Slovaks play Denmark. So it's still possible for the Danes to advance to the quarterfinal round if they beat the Slovaks. And if the Slovaks beat the Danes and the Finns beat the U.S. is 4th on that side. It's a tough quarterfinal for the first place team from Group B.
Right, we look at it, oh, the U.S. would run into a tough quarter, but it's probably a bigger deal for the team that won and thinks they're going to have an easier run in the quarter.
Either way, if that matchup were to happen, the top gold medal contender would go out in the quarters. That shot fired wide by McCarr. That loss by the U.S. and the Slovaks really hurt as Tkachuk plays it back in. Under 2 to go now in the third period. Great, I'll be back with a doubleheader tomorrow. We'll have the Finns and the U.S. at 4 Eastern tomorrow, followed by that Sweden-Russia game. And busting in now is Madsen, who works around. McLeod steps into him. Got our first up close look at the Swedes today as it walked in and fired wide by Grunthig. Another chance, and Bastrop was stopped by Hart. So 2 good chances there for the Danes late. And McCarr tries to bank that ahead. And the Swedes are worth the price of admission. And not just for the headline attraction, Rasmus Dahlin. They've got a whole slew of offensive defensemen who can light it up. In comes Anderson with it. Trying to drop that back for Nielsen, and Carter Hart squeezes that with 1 to go here in the third period.
Hart got the start here after playing yesterday. Dominic Ducharme said with the 2 days off, they didn't want him to go such a long time between games. And we talked early in the show about Hart has a .958 save percentage when he plays on back-to-back nights in Everett. 18 shots, 18 saves here today.
That's down slightly from his .961 overall.
They must be tired. And what a remarkable year Carter Hart has had.
And a chance to come back and try to win gold at the World Junior after taking silver last year. Clegg feeds it across for Timmins. Up for Formanton, winding in. Formanton works in a backhand shot, and it trickles towards the line. No goal. Referee waves it off at the goal line. Formanton thought he poked it home. Apparently the Canadian fans here really wanted that 9th goal.
I want to hear that goal song again, I guess. As Formanton races through the defense, and his shot is just trickling through, and it's sitting right by the goal post.
It's still loose.
Yeah, but the whistle's gone at that point. And if it hasn't, it's close enough.
And the puck rattles off the glass, up and out of play.
See Formanton say that was a fast whistle.
Ola Beller having a laugh with the referee. great guy to talk to. Great passion for the game, and in a country like Denmark where sports like speed skating, cross-country skiing, soccer are all so popular, Eller fights to keep hockey's place in the national landscape. Time winds down here in the third period. And Carter Hart has the shutout, and Canada wins it 8-0 to clinch first place in Group A. Next stop, the quarterfinals against an opponent yet to be determined. That'll happen tomorrow with 4 games on tap on the final day of the preliminary round here at the World Junior.
Just pretty much as you'd expect this game to go, as the Danes hung tough for a little bit, but 2-0 late in the first period. A last-minute goal by Canada makes it 3-0, and then it just becomes too much. They run out of gas. They just don't have the steam to keep up to Canada.
Tom Ducharme trying to get the attention of Olaf Eller for the handshake. Oh, hi.
And ladies and gentlemen, here to present tonight's players of the game, Director of VIP Services for Fallsview Casino Resorts, Doug McDonald. First, the player of the game from Team Denmark, number 21, Daniel Nielsen. And from Team Canada with 2 goals tonight, Brett Howden.
Mom and Dad looking on. Howden, one of several players to hit the score sheet tonight for the first time. Brother Quinton, a 2-time medalist for Canada at the World Junior Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of Team Canada's victory tonight, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats to respect the playing of their national anthem.
The 2018 IIHF World Junior Hockey Championship from Buffalo, New York is brought to you by Esso. The Esso brand has fueled Canada's love of hockey for over 30 years. By Nike, official gear of Canada's national hockey team. By RBC, let's make someday happen. And by TELUS, powering the network that keeps us all connected.